The ODM Youth League, Caswell Makore, finds his way into the studio. Thank you so much, Caswell, for creating time. It's great to have you. All right, on this time, and I'm going online through some reactions upon that recognition by the Homa Bay governor, that is Gladys Wanga. Did I say Homa Bay governor? Yes, Gladys Wanga.
Yes.
Who goes ahead to say that they recognize Caswell Makore in the presence, of course, of the mourners. Certainly something that we expected for you to be there. But, you know, the reactions later on that finally Gladys Wanga acknowledges Caswell Makore. What would you describe that acknowledgement to have meant and to have been for you at that moment?
I think it was, first of all, such an honor, especially coming from Governor Gladys Wanga. I think people might not specifically understand the inner workings of the Orange Democratic Movement.
Yeah.
But, and we might get into it a little deeper in the interview concerning ODM and its leadership.
Right.
But Governor Wanga has been such a powerhouse. She's been such a force for keeping the party together. She's had her duties as governor, but also ever since she became the chairperson of the Orange Democratic Movement, she has been very intentional with acknowledging and seeing the work that everybody in the party does. So she knows everybody from top organs to us, the young people and the entrants. It was Baba's day. So for me, while it was special, I really was just mourning the loss of my leader, my friend, father. Baba was very many things to me. But I'm grateful that my party chair made that acknowledgement. I later came to realize that I was coming under fire as well online.
Right.
There was mockery going on and whatnot. But I've always stood firm that joining the Orange Democratic Movement is the most pragmatic, the most practical and sagacious decision that I've made.
And therefore, that is an acknowledgement that indeed politically that recognition was critical?
It was.
In the event that it did not come, God forbid? In
the event that it did not come, it would not change anything because my participation and my involvement in the Orange Democratic Movement remains unchanged. We are still planning for ODM at 20. Of course, now the focus changes entirely because it becomes a memorial for the greatest Democrat to ever do it, the Chief of the Golden Heart, the Right Honorable former Prime Minister. But we do not work for recognition. We work for the love of the party. We work for the love of democracy. Right. We work for the love of devolution and for the upholding of our constitution and stability in our nation. So personally, I was not attending the burial for any sort of recognition. It's the same reason I was working for Jacom. It's not because I wanted to be recognized. It's because I wanted to learn as much as I could. And
I'm glad that you tell us that Raila was many things to you. This, maybe one would say, within such a short time.
Yes, I've known him for 1 year and 1 week.
Only 1 year. So yes. You would literally confidently tell us here that it is just that 1 year that you got a chance to meet Raila Odinga. And therefore, acknowledging that he was many things to you, indeed, it means so much happened in a very sort of like lightning speed. How are you processing his demise?
I think, in all honesty, I'm still lost for words, because I knew him at very trying times of my life. He saved me quite literally. He saved my life from the streets when there was I'd received several notices from the Security Council, even members of Parliament like Mheshimiwa Kaluma, who told me that if you keep on doing these things, people might kill you. Go and see Jacom. And I still said I wasn't ready. So Baba embraces me at a time when I was struggling with a lot of things. I was going through a difficult time mentally. I was going through such a huge identity crisis. But then he saves me. He sends people to watch over me when I'm protesting. Even when I am jibizanaing with him on social media, he still holds. And when I finally show up in his office, he gives me the best 1 year and 1 week of my life. And I'm doing a series that's titled A Year and a Week with the King, which should just enable people to see that side of Baba, because in his last days, I can confidently say that I am one of the young people who Baba worked with as closely. I have not seen anybody else who spent as much time with His Excellency in this past year. Remember, we were coming under fire. There's a time local dailies put us together, called us betrayers of the Gen Z, consistently. And he called me. Anytime I had any sort of distress, he would call and say, do not worry, my son. You cannot get the buy-in of everybody. When I was telling him that even when we were going into the broad-based arrangement, I did a presser immediately after KICC. Yeah. I told him this is wildly unpopular, and I remember that night is the first time that he asked me for my thoughts. And ever since, now we just intensified our interactions. He was showing me grassroots mobilization, introducing me to his party organs and party structures. It's something which I'm forever grateful for. But I didn't meet His Excellency more as a politician. I met him as a friend. Okay. It was so personal that there's one time I went to Kisumu, and I wanted to drive out in the night, and His Excellency said, no, sleep here. And I slept in his mansion. He showed me where to sleep. He showed me the bed, gave me a towel, told me, and it's a house full of servants. It's a 72-room mansion. And he was doing that for me. In the morning, he woke up, he came and woke me up, told us to go and work out. We were just in like our night clothing, nightwear. And so for me, it's a deeply personal relationship. So it's still difficult. And remember, all this we've had to pull off this according to his will, that he wanted his will to be buried in 72 hours.
And then we get deep into that.
Yeah.
But correct me if I'm wrong. Given the antagonism you quoted in abandoning what was the youth-led protest, what becomes of your revolutionary cause? Because many would look at you and say that you're a traitor. You left us at that 11th hour. We would have imagined that you would be the person driving this force to the very last beat. What would you tell the people, even as you tell us of your revolutionary cause?
I've consistently said that I betrayed no one. The people I betrayed are tribalists, are people who wanted to make money from demonstrations, taking innocent people to go and meet their untimely deaths, knowing very well that even that they have nothing to live for currently as things are. I'm still fighting. I'm still within the fight. I'm still fighting for good governance. I'm still fighting for accountability. I'm still on the war on graft and for the betterment of our nation, and more aggressively now for strengthening of devolution and the fulfillment and the full realization of this national project that we call Kenya. If there's someone who's still stuck on that trope, it's flogging a dead horse, because I've made this rather decisively. I've said that going to the Orange Democratic Movement is the best decision I have made in my life. I have met comrades there who've been in the struggle, who've lost their lives, who gave us this constitution that everybody's bickering about, who gave us devolution, which allows us to have an inclusive nation, who have consistently put their needs behind for the betterment of the nation. Raila Odinga has postponed all this. He would have let the nation burn. He had a chance to become president last year, but he did not. He wanted everything. He valued the Kenyan project more than he valued his own life, more than he valued his own ambition, such that local dailies have smeared his name to the very end. I've seen a daily that consistently painted itself as a revolutionary daily, always exposing things. And when the owner of the dog went to State House, suddenly they've switched the tune. I have not seen them criticize their owner the same way they criticized my party leader with all those falsehoods. And even at some point, we got enjoined. I need to remind you that I've undergone a microcosm of the harassment that the Right Honorable Raila Odinga went through. And so learning from him, I think, I have no regrets. If this, people on the one hand say that they're in a leaderless movement. On the other hand, they're saying that they're fighting for democracy. But once one individual exercises their democratic rights, goes where they believe there's ideology, if you want to tell me a revolution can be punctured by one person.
Hold it right
If
there.
I was not the leader of this revolution, then why are people still asking these questions? Why haven't people emerged? Why haven't new faces emerged to go and fight for those things?
All right.
Why haven't people gone up and shown up with those things, such that they're just stuck on this one individual who has gone, and I've gone to do tremendous thing in the Orange Democratic Movement.
And we're going to get to understand what these things that you're calling tremendous are.
Yes.
You say that you are not, you do not regret joining the force, even at this very point when it appears to be wobbly, and even before you respond to that. I'm curious to understand, where were you when you got the news of the demise of Baba? When was the last time you spoke to him? And when you say that you walked with him up to the very last moments, perhaps if you could confirm to us what really he would have wished for. Because many, even during that day when he was buried, many came out to say that this is what Baba wanted. Some said that perhaps he would not have wished for ODM to literally be engraved in this process of the broad-based, maybe up to the last bit, in terms of the political bit to it, because you remember that time when he declared that ODM is going to plan itself for the 2027 general election, as if to confirm what the Secretary General has been saying for quite some time. Now, latest, of course, utterances from the leaders of ODM is that, oh, Baba wanted us to be in broad-based. Would you confirm that? If at all you spoke to Baba, did he tell you broad-based is the place to be at?
Most certainly. Most certainly. And if you can remember, part of the last public appearance where His Excellency Right Honorable, the Chief of the Golden Hearts, Raila Odinga, addresses a crowd, he tells those people categorically, and he says that now we shall stay in this arrangement and we shall have the citizens judge us in 2027. So we have to contextualize when Baba is speaking to the nation and when Baba is speaking to the Orange Democratic Movement's leaders.
Okay.
So when, I think this is just, it's basic dialectics and reasoning, quite literally. If Baba is speaking to his people and giving them direction, because I was there when Baba was doing the consultations. I had not gone to the United States at the time, but Baba had come back. I think he was in Dubai, but I remember I came and I walked with him, and we went to several counties. We did the whole Nyanza tour together. We went to Kisii together. We went to Homa Bay together. We went to Kisumu together. I was there with His Excellency, and we were here in Nairobi together. Even, we had actually just come from Addis Ababa. I've just remembered we were just coming from the AUC elections. Okay. And he went and he asked Baba aendelee ama asiendelee, and he consulted all his people, and they said aendelee. That is when, after that, after a popular agreement from the people who voted, who consistently voted and walked with him, they told him to join the broad-based arrangement. Then Baba joined the broad-based arrangement with the Orange Democratic Movement. He did not join as an individual. That is why sometimes I get very cross. And there's one particular incident where I have to disagree vehemently with the Secretary General of the Orange Democratic Movement. There's a statement that got me very angry in one of my last conversations with His Excellency, just before I went to Brussels. There's this new animal that there's factions that were trying to form themselves in the Orange Democratic Movement, where people, and I've said this without fear of contradiction, but if you think you're a legislator enough, if you think you're man enough, and the Orange Democratic Movement, it seems to be too retrogressive for you, by Jove, resign from the mandate that you are given. But it's not that the Orange Democratic Movement does not welcome criticism from within, but you cannot be sly in the sense that on the one hand you want to speak for the party and for His Excellency, and the other hand speak things that are contrary.
Who are these people?
I'll speak up. Right now, this disagreement that I'm speaking about was about the Secretary General.
Yes.
And there's a time that I remember they were outside the Serena.
Right.
And he reads out a statement. People had expected that His Excellency, the Prime Minister, would speak first, and then the Secretary General. But he had just done an interview with Yvonne Okwara. Then the next couple of days, he came and read a statement. And I think he read a faulty statement. And because my Secretary General is a sharp man, I fault him because he read a misleading statement to the country. Because he went ahead and read a statement that said, we therefore agree with Raila Odinga's position in supporting the broad-based government. He is not the spokesperson, has never been the spokesperson of the Chief of the Golden Heart, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. He is the spokesperson of the Orange Democratic Movement.
But Baba
he spoke and said that he agrees with Raila Odinga's position. That was a typo because it insinuates that only Raila Odinga, His Excellency, was in the broad-based arrangement. Mzee left us here in the broad-based arrangement with very clear directives that these are the 10 points that need to be achieved.
Don't you think it was necessary for Mzee to have come out to say that what Sifuna says is not my position?
But
which he never, in most cases,
but
he never disputed what Sifuna said.
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. This comes after Mzee had spoken. This comes after Mzee had said, when Sifuna speaks for the party.
Right.
And I'm basing my words off of what Mzee had said, that Sifuna speaks for the party. Why then would he throw our party leader under the bus? It's a very slight thing, but I think it's a dog whistle. That's why I keep on saying that Mzee, he died in an unfortunate circumstance where now everybody wants to pretend that they were working with him. Our legislators let His Excellency suffer shame. They were not speaking about him. I was the one running around like a headless chicken, running around with no mandate. But I'm very grateful that I got that mentorship. That's why I keep on saying, all these people who are pretending, they used their proxies. It is their bloggers who killed Mzee, in quotes. And I say this, they killed him before it was his time. They spread misinformation. And then now they're pretending they loved Baba. But they could not hold their dogs.
So what is it like in the party right now? Because everyone is speculating, everyone's saying that, you know, it's the end of ODM. Everyone's saying that perhaps, you know, it's over and done. Raila was ODM and ODM was Raila, and therefore it is time for people to figure out what next. Would you categorically tell us what the situation is like? Because we're still talking about the Secretary General who stands to be the Secretary General. Yes. And his utterances do not show you know, a Secretary General who literally agrees to the fact that the ODM party is part and parcel of the broad-based government.
The Orange Democratic Movement is in the broad-based government. It is in that broad-based arrangement to stay until the party resolves otherwise. One individual cannot come and tell us. Even the party leader subjected himself to party processes. He did not just go and sign, the Premier did not go and sign a random agreement with Dr. William Ruto. He went and consulted the people. So anyone who thinks they will sabotage this broad-based arrangement is in for a rude shock. Two, I need to remind Kenyans that the Orange Democratic Movement is the most compliant political party in the country. With all the standards of the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, there's no party that comes close in terms of compliance in the Orange Democratic Movement. People have been saying the ODM is dead. For the past 20 years, we are celebrating in a Yambori ODM at 20. We are also in a period of elections. So anyone who thinks that they can misbehave in the party, the people will decide who their next party leader is. They will decide who their next chairperson is, decide who their next secretary general is. They'll decide who their next leaders are because we're in a period of elections. So
let me ask this question. Will you support President William Ruto if he were to seek re-election and in ODM?
I think we're jumping the gun before we get to that. We need to give it a bit more context.
We also have very little time.
Yes.
And therefore we have to make it tight.
So in terms of, if you're thinking about the party, because
we're talking broad-based.
Yes. You've asked about the party specifically.
Right.
Currently, as things stand, we have lost a pillar, but we have not been left as orphans. And I say this and I'll repeat it, that the current resolution that was passed on the day that just the day before Mzee landed, that Dr. Oburu Oginga should become the acting party leader, I think he has shown us that he is devoted. He's been devoted to his brother his entire life. They have fought political battles together, and they consulted, and we worked together with also Dr. Oburu Oginga. So I think the National Delegates Convention should confirm him as party leader, because he's one of the most stable politicians I have seen in the Orange Democratic Movement.
Will it not risk a scenario where people say that this is a family affair again?
But is Dr. Oburu, yes, he is the brother of the late Chief of Golden Heart, but he was not appointed as the acting party leader. The party organ sat, but you know, because people do not see the workings and people only want to pay attention to the Orange Democratic Movement when it's time to scandalize it. The whole management committee sat down and passed a resolution. So if you think that it's not this is a family agenda, and you think that you have a better idea, present it to the people, bring it to us, the masses, and tell us this is why you think you will be a better party leader. But this one where people want to sabotage the party, that will not work. Because the party is firm, and I've said without fear of contradiction that we remain in this broad-based arrangement. And people will say that it is praise and worship. They will say, and I would want to speak to some of the people who stood for the party boldly. And that includes both sides. The people who side on the Democratic side and the people who side on the larger betterment and the welfarist side. And I've seen a lot of them being called members of the praise and worship choir. I want to speak to all those party organs. There's people like my chairperson who's fought really hard. In very difficult times, Governor Wanga has done to run around and do a lot for the party while also dispensing her other duties. Akina Junet, Akina Simba Rati, Akina Abdul Swamad, all those people, Akina Rene, those people. My message is, regardless of whether we are being called praise and worship, if that is going to bring roads to our marginalized areas, let the choir sing louder. If that is going to bring better and more stable healthcare to our people, let us sing louder. If it is going to bring better education to our younger siblings and our children, let the choir sing louder. If it is going to ensure that we have justice for victims of protests, let the choir sing louder. If this will ensure that our Premier, our Chief of the Golden Heart, gets all the respect he is due as a private citizen, let the choir sing louder. It is...
And God forbid, we have seen political parties going down. Like you say, ODM is intact, and we are here to see and confirm. But with this evidence of factionalism that we get to witness, How do you intend to survive the raging storm? Because like you rightfully put it, I see a Kasmuel who was largely held by the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And you know very well that when you get into that space and with the kind of vigor that you have, an understanding of politics and desire to go out there and change the world, there's evidently going to be some differences based on individuals who probably would look and view you as a threat. How do you just survive the tide?
There's no political party that does not have internal contradictions.
Okay.
Yes, my political father, my godfather, my mentor, my everything in politics has rest. May God rest his soul in eternal peace. But I am not left alone. I am left with a solid structure that he built for over 20 years. It will be such a great insult to say that the man, the enigma worked for nothing. I am left with a plethora of options. I am left with leaders of such expansive knowledge, even within the steering committee, people who I can turn to, people who he referred me to in his last days, Akina Mama Dago, Akina chairperson of the party, Governor Wanga, the steering committee, those people. I have a huge pool of people, and as we think about this, the factionalism is not happening in ODM. That is a perception that is being sold by our detractors. Okay. And I think it is very sad. And I look at this and I say that the passing of our prime minister we're not looking at it in the right light. Yesterday, the other day when we were burying the premier, there's this really arrogant, obnoxious, ignorant, indolent governor. I do not know what. Words fail me. The Worth who is in charge of Nyeri turned
as
his
we put
people.
In the disclaimers.
These are my words.
Yes, yes.
Yes. And I'm willing to face, and I'll make a declaration here as a young person. Young people, it is not known in African traditional society that young people curse the old. But today I will curse an older person who stood at a funeral to say that God has favored the people of Mount Kenya by taking Raila Odinga away because Ruto had been taking development projects to Nyanza. That is on the death of my party leader, a whole governor.
We drop that one, yes. That is to be condemned.
That one I condemn it, yes. And I say, because he is a dog that has been sent by the DCP party.
Well,
those are the organs. The people who, these are my words, yes, and I will take full accountability for it. That's what I'm saying.
But then again, we also have to proceed to the next, because we're being told to step out.
The thing which I'm telling those people, and I'll say this categorically, even if this is the last thing I get to say in the show, they will go nowhere. Those are the people who are trying to make it look like they pale in comparison. There are village parties which cannot be compared to the Orange Democratic Movement. We are being held to a standard which other parties are not being held to. The Orange Democratic Movement has survived for 20
we have to close.
It will survive for 20 more.
We have to close. You have not answered my question as to whether you support President William Ruto if he were to, ask for his bid.
But you've asked that. I feel like you're asking that question in a rather simplistic sense. If President William Ruto honors this broad-based arrangement that we have in the 10-point agenda, I assure you
will support
that as a person who was once opposing him most vehemently, if this broad-based, the 10-point memorandum is achieved, I assure you I will lead the Youth League of the Revolutionary Youth League of the Orange Democratic Movement to support and to drum up support for him.
Do you intend to vie?
I think now I'm a servant of the party.
Okay.
The party will decide whether I vie or not. The party might see me useful in other quarters or not. But
or maybe
the
deny you
vying,
a ticket.
It's not about denying ticket. That's why people don't seem to understand how the Orange Democratic Movement works. It's democratic in the sense that you present yourself to the people and you ask. If I ask and I give the ticket, well and good. If I ask and I'm not, I will continue to serve the party.
We have to close. But the Cybercrimes Act in 30 seconds.
Cannot be in 30 seconds, Anne.
Okay, 1 minute, Max.
It's a piece of legislation that we cannot just discuss.
1 minute, Max, your view on it.
We can discuss this later.
Elevator pitch.
I think the intention is good, but it poses certain democratic challenges where it can give blanket overreach.
Right.
Out of the things that were signed, I disagree with that one. I disagree with 2 of the bills, 2 out of the 8. 6 I agree with, and I cannot elucidate that in 30 seconds.
Right.
But that's what I think. The cybercrimes, that one for cybercrimes, I'm not particular. I'm not in support. I will just be categorical. I oppose it fully.
Kasmuel Makoure, thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you very much,
Hope
Linda.
to have you some more. I know we have lots to discuss, but certainly time would not allow us. But then again, we're here. And you're always welcome. Asante sana. Massive feedback, but yes, we cannot go through that.
Right.
We have to shift gears shortly. Of course, take a look at more stories.